The Gulf Coast Growth Show is sponsored by Chevron Pasadena Refinery and is an extension of the Economic Alliance Houston Port Region, where our mission is to market and grow a vibrant regional economy.
Welcome to another edition of the Gulf Coast Growth Show. I'm Chad Burke, the President and CEO of the Economic Alliance Houston Port Region. And today, I have a very, very special guest with us today, Bob Bradshaw, our outgoing chairman. And we wanted to have a kind of an exit interview, if you will, with our fantastic chairman as he's headed out. So welcome, Bob. Glad to have you. Appreciate you taking time. As we just talked about, you are about a week away from stepping out the door at INEOS. Yes. And concluding what has been, in my opinion, probably just a fantastic career. Irrespective of what you've done for us, just your entire career. So why don't we start with just a little kind of background on Bob. Give us the Bob Bradshaw bio of your career and where it's taken you and kind of what you've done, and then we'll get into some Economic Alliance.
Okay. All right. Well, Chad, thanks for taking the time to do this. As far as my career, it's ending here, but it's been 42 years. I hired in with Amoco in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1981. I was actually an accountant, and if you recall, that's when President Reagan at the time deregulated oil, so they hired about 40 of us accountants all at one time. Nice. So it was an interesting time. Worked in Tulsa for a couple of years and then was transferred to Clayton, Missouri, which is a suburb of St. Louis, and moved into systems analysis then. Worked there for a period of time, then was transferred to our plant in Wood River, Illinois as accounting supervisor. And then I took a position in our headquarters in Chicago after a couple of years. And that was an interesting one because it was a training position. So I went from finance to human resources. And I did that purposefully. I think I've shared with the group that I've always had a fear of public speaking. Yeah. And I thought the only way I'm going to get around this is to do it. And it was an absolute disaster for about 2 months, but then now you can't shut me up. Yeah. So it worked out. So had several different positions in Chicago, supported what was supposed to be the fourth leg of the Amoco Corporation, which was Amoco Technology. So I spent some time flying around the country doing due diligence on small technology startup companies, and it was very interesting, but it was odd because within that sector you have to have some really entrepreneurial quick decision making, and that wasn't what a big oil company was known for. So we left, I left Chicago in 1991 and got transferred to Texas. So I got here as soon as I could. Started my career in Texas at the Texas City chemical plant with Amoco. I was finance manager. And then I moved into a series of what they reorganized, Amoco did, and moved into a what's called a site service role. So it's basically all the support services, and that was kind of my first taste into a true manufacturing role. Mm-hmm. Then I had an opportunity to move to Chocolate Bayou as a process supervisor. This is my first operations role, so that was in 1999, and worked at Chocolate Bayou in various roles, moved up to operations manager, and then moved over to maintenance manager, maintenance and engineering manager. And then I was transferred to the LaPorte site as plant manager in 2011. Mm-hmm. So it's been an interesting ride.
And then, so was that still Amoco when you came to the LaPorte site? Or
no.
Had it been purchased? It
had been purchased in around 99 is when BP purchased the Amoco. Mm-hmm. So basically my transition from Texas City to Chocolate Bayou was at the time that BP purchased Amoco.
Okay.
And then INEOS came in, and we were in 2005, 2006. BP was going to spin off the majority of their chemical assets and create an IPO. And then about the 11th hour, INEOS, led by Sir Jim Radcliffe, decided to purchase the assets outright, and that's how we became INEOS.
Yeah. And Chocolate Bio was part of that, as well as the LaPorte, and now y'all have got, great facilities down there as well, and over on not Barber's Cut, but Port Road
Yes.
as well. Lots of good things going on.
Yeah, it's been interesting. So, the original INEOS assets were Heritage, BP, Amoco, and then, we've added to that portfolio here in the Texas area, nitriles business down at Port Lavaca, and then obviously some of the recent acquisitions here. So it's been steady growth.
You never actually left the company. It just changed hands while you were there.
Yeah, exactly. It's and that's what I do say is I never changed. The company changed.
The company changed.
And to INEOS's credit, at the time when INEOS bought us, there was a significant amount of concern, but I can honestly say that it's probably the best thing that's happened to me career-wise.
Yeah.
And they did honor our service, vacation, so they really was a stand-up company.
Well, I was going to touch on this later, but I'll just touch on it right now. INEOS, I remember, man, how many years ago was it now? 5, 6 years? Well, at least 4 or 5 years ago, kind of pre-COVID, we were doing a groundbreaking at the facility on Port Road.
Yes.
Y'all had graciously asked us to come out and make a few comments, and so I was thinking about what I would say about INEOS in that kind of groundbreaking ceremony, and it struck me as I started talking to making notes about the efforts and community engagement that INEOS had through folks like yourself. Touched almost every part of what we were trying to do here in the region with the Economic Alliance. There was obviously the project work, which we were there for, but then you've chaired our Transportation and Infrastructure Committee for years. Public policy, INEOS was always represented there. Workforce development, great representation with folks like Stacy Putman. So in almost every aspect of what we were doing to kind of continue our mission here, INEOS was involved in a real proactive and responsible way. And so I've always just had the greatest of opinion of INEOS and the personnel and kind of the culture that y'all have, because the company doesn't have to do that. I mean,
Right.
You're in the business to make your product.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all have really led this region. So I kind of jumped ahead, but I wanted to say, what a great company to have been with, and we really appreciate the effort and leadership there.
Yeah, and that's one thing is they give us the space to allow us to do that. The other thing I'd like to mention along with that is our partnership with San Jacinto College.
Yeah.
And we weren't the largest, but we were the first to have a corporate donation for the construction of the CPET Center.
Yep.
So, it's Lydell Basel's name on it, but we like to say at least we were first.
No, and that's an important note, because once you have a company that steps out there and makes that kind of commitment, then that signals the other companies, and I think did so in this region, to say, yeah, this is important. We're going to have good partners, and we're going to be part of this. And it was a pleasure working on that advisory board with you as well. So,
yes, it was. And then when you mentioned the transportation committee, it's a bit odd, but the reason I was on the transportation committee before I even was part of the board for the Economic Alliance, because I replaced Monty Hines as chairman of ECMA, and it was a joint role between American Land Royal and at ECMA at the time.
Yep.
And so I co-chaired that as part of ECMA, and then when I continued that when I became chairman of Economic Alliance. So that's a long history there.
It really does go back. And I thought we intentionally wanted that representation from ECMA, the East Harris County Manufacturers Association, because we needed that voice there of leadership, and you stepped right into that role and did a great job. You know, that feedback from industry as to where are the bottlenecks in the region, what are the projects we need to prioritize, those type of conversations. Industry obviously played a huge role in that with the port and the county as well, but obviously you guys led on it.
Yeah, and I would say it's probably one of the, I hate to use the word proud because I always try to be humble, but yeah, I think as far as accomplishments as part of my chairmanship, I would have to say that that's probably one of the biggest wins, you know, and I got to really hand it to you and the Economic Alliance organization in regards to, you know, not only just getting manufacturing industry involved, but also getting, you know, TxDOT engaged, the local community, the mayors were all part of that. The port was a big part of it, and being able to get all of those players together in a room, align them, understand what our mission is, our common mission, is really, it just shows you the impact, the importance that the Economic Alliance brings to the community and brings to this area. So, you know, with the big win on the Pell study on 225, you know, getting all 8 connectors as part of the 225 Beltway 8 interchange is absolutely amazing. I mean, that was a personal one too, because I make 3 left turns to get on Beltway 8 when I leave work. So, and then, you know, the expansion of 225, the elevated recommendation that was made by TxDOT, you know, looking at the Barber's Cut, you know, anyone that drives to LaPorte midday understands the hassles that brings, and if we could do something, because the area, you know, continues to grow, and I always looked at it as not only is it going to help industry, but also and help the economy, the local economy, but it's also a quality of life for individuals.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Yeah, I've got a couple of employees that are still traversing 146 every morning and evening, and we're within weeks of opening the new 146 that began over a decade ago. But yeah, it's those type of projects that it's not just you know, our ability to move freight and product, which is paramount, but again, for those of us who live and work in the region, to be able to get to work and quality of life and get home and back to your families in a timely manner, that's just as important in my opinion. So, well, you kind of answered my number 2 question, which was you know, some of the things that you were proud of, and you can I think you should rightfully be proud of that. I would agree with that. That's for myself. When we got the news of that final recommendations out of that report, it really felt surreal. We'd been working on it so long. We had a little impromptu party in the office. We were pretty excited. Tell us, so kind of along those lines, anything that you'll remember most about your experience as chairman here at the Economic Alliance?
Having to follow the chancellor of Texas A&M speaking was probably a low light. I think that was a real challenge, but no, it was such a tremendous speaker, and that was a great annual banquet. Yeah, getting on stage and being able to shake hands with Governor Abbott, talk about an honor.
Yes.
That was amazing. You know, some of the things we did as it relates to the Gulf Coast Industry Forum. And just to show the connectiveness that I think we really drive through the Economic Alliance, I remember picking up the phone one day and calling you, saying, Chad, I got a real problem. They're building a warehouse across the street from my plant. Traffic's 55 miles an hour. My employees are having difficulty getting in and out of the plant. And I want to say it might have been even that same afternoon, if not the next day, I was getting calls from Precinct 2 asking what the issues were and how they could help. And I know you were the ones, and Chad Carson were the ones that were the catalyst to make that happen. You know, we wound up having a study done on Independence Parkway, and they repaved it from the truck stop all the way down past Miller Cutoff and put in a turning lane that has really helped our employees, you know, and our contractors to get in and out of the plant. So I think that again, shows the value of the Economic Alliance, just being able to connect the right people to make things happen.
Yeah, I think I again, one of the what we call either solutions or assists that I'm really proud of. It's I've had good conversations with Commissioner Adrian Garcia about that, and we've done that in numerous ways. But that's the example that you give when industry has a need. It's safety. It's again, you had a brand new distribution warehouse right across the street from you, so you got a safety issue. And when we can pick up the phone and call people that we know, that we work with, that we have a relationship with, and be able to very quickly engage the right people to like you said, come out. They did a study, and then they were really, they were hopeful that things would work out. I remember when I got the call back from the engineer, he was like, "Chad, good news. We not only are we going to repave it, but we can widen it and put that lane in." He was as excited as I was. So it's the perfect example of how kind of the ecosystem should work here, and the connectivity that we can provide for it. So so I was great. I was really, really glad to be able to kind of be part of that. Another quick question, any impact professionally, operationally? I guess we talked a little bit about operationally, even personally, on your part over the last few years here, being engaged with the Alliance?
Yeah, I think, it's professionally, I just kind of in awe at the quality of the people that you get to work with.
Yeah.
Not only the yourself and the staff at the Economic Alliance, but being able to pick up the phone and call Dr. Hellier, or Mayor Bechtel, and the passion that people have for the betterment of the community. It was an inspiration to me. I mean, when you asked me to be chair, I was teetering on the decision of retiring, and I really, I talked to my wife Angela and said, this is going to be a really neat gig, and I don't want to pass it up, and so I thought I'll just continue on and work and become part of this. So I think that grew me professionally.
Wow.
Have just the knowledge, the intelligence of the people that you interact with from the Alliance, it has just made me want to learn more. I mean, I'm participating because of my connections through Economic Alliance. I was nominated to be on the American Leadership, or part of the American Leadership Forum.
Yes.
And that has opened up some amazing doors for me. The individuals that are part of our cohort, young entrepreneurs, city leaders, county leaders, and just being around people that have that passion and that intelligence makes you want to learn, makes you want to be a better person. So I think that's what's helped me personally and professionally.
Excellent.
We'll see where what doors open because of that.
Good. Well, that brings me to my final question. So you timed up, as you mentioned, you timed up the your tour of duty with us with your retirement, and congratulations on that again. But so, quick kind of look ahead. What do you think? What do you think the future of our industry holds? What's that look like? And then one final kind of add on to that is, from that viewpoint, what do you think that we as the Economic Alliance should kind of be aware of or hold as priorities, or not concerned, but kind of have an eye towards moving forward? What are those things that we should keep, at the top of our priority list, if you will?
I think first and foremost is continue what we're doing with workforce development. I think what's being done through Dream It, Do It, the connections that Patty Bell's making into the schools, the sponsoring of Manufacturing Day to open up our doors, the plant doors to middle school students, give them a sense for what goes on in the plant. I did my first one with Angela when she was still with Lee College, and we brought students in, and unfortunately we had to go on a hiatus with COVID, but we restarted it here last year, and I got asked the same question within 5 minutes, and that was, how much money do you make?
Exactly.
And, so it's interesting. Our school children are thinking about that, and we're giving them an avenue to maybe explore those dreams some. So I think we need to continue that because we're always going to need skilled and talented people to continue, no matter what, which way the business goes in this area, whether it's aerospace, it's more around sustainability, those type of initiatives. We're going to need talented, passionate people to be successful and keep the economic engine of the port region going. As far as the future, I think we need to look at 2024. I think it's going to be a challenging year based on the global economy and what's going on in the world. But we need to kind of look past that to see what 25 and 26 will bring us. And I think it's going to be, technology is going to continue to advance, and maybe look at the aerospace industry and what synergies that growth has with the petrochem area. Continue our push. We got a big win on transportation, but that needs to continue.
Now we have to secure the money to fund all of that.
Right. So I think that needs to continue. Public policy, whether it's in Austin or Washington, I think the Economic Alliance is our voice in Washington, along with some of the other trade organizations, but we need to be front and center at the table, making sure that Washington's making informed policy decisions regarding one of the largest economies in the country, if not the world.
Absolutely.
So I think those are the things. And then look at new opportunities. Different businesses come in. As I think there's going to be some rationalization within the petrochem, and do we fill that gap with some additional different types of industries, and how do we sell the Gulf Coast, the connectiveness, the ports, and all of that, to maybe looking at getting different types of business, diversify, if you would.
Yep.
So.
Well, excellent. Words of wisdom from a man with 30-plus years experience, making it and doing everything else with it. So we really appreciate it. So that'll kind of wrap us up for this edition, as we wish our now former chairman just a wonderful time in your retirement with Angela. I know you've got lots of great traveling and fun things to do, but we hope that to always stay in touch with you. I will say this, when people ask me about Bob Bradshaw, to descriptives, I think of the word gentleman, and I think of the word statesman. Gentleman because he's got a nice, easy demeanor that speaks with wisdom, and I've always really loved having him around. And then statesman because he is out there doing things like this. He is involved in leading, and when he didn't have to lead, he was stepping out and taking those roles like this here at the Economic Alliance. So, Bob, thank you so much. Appreciate everything that you've done.
Thank you, Chad.
It's been a wonderful, wonderful trip that we've had together. Yes. With that, we'll wrap it up. We hope that you will listen on all of our platforms, like and subscribe on YouTube and the different networks. And until next time, we'll see you later.
Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to go to the Economic Alliance Houston Port Region website and subscribe to our channels. And let's pay it forward by sharing the good news of what's happening in our region by passing this episode to somebody you know.